Hi, everyone. Welcome to the information session for our dual credit and early college program. Today, we're just going to give you an overview of what the program is about, the costs, some different advice on courses, and then we'll wrap it up with our contact information. So you're always welcome to send us an email or give us a call if you have any questions further on down the line. So my name's Abby Porter. I am the manager of dual credit and partnerships at John A. Logan College. So our office oversees the dual credit and early college program. And then we also do a little bit of recruitment as well, especially for the younger students. And then most recently, we have been involved with the Promise Scholarship. So some of you might be watching this to learn a little bit about dual credit and early college and how it relates to the Promise and how it's required for the Promise. So we have been doing a little bit of that initiative, but I will go ahead and let Jenny introduce herself as well.
Hi, everyone. My name's Jenny Ditch. I am the coordinator of dual credit. I work extensively with the homeschoolers and the private schoolers, as well as all the public schoolers as well. So I just normally spend a little bit more time with that group.
Yep. And we both advise the students. So your students will probably hear from both of us at one point or another, whether that be through email or in person. So hopefully we'll see their faces a lot throughout their high school journey. Okay, so let's kick it off with some definitions for dual credit and early college. We have a lot of people that get confused about these two different definitions because most people just call everything dual credit, but there is a difference in dual credit and early college courses. So dual credit courses are specifically listed in the MOU in our agreement with the high schools. So these students are taking classes during their regular high school day, and they're counting for both high school and college credit. So that is the dual credit portion. They are eligible their junior and their senior year. And again, it is for both high school and college credit. Early college is just for college credit. So usually they are taking something online or in the evening with a John A. Logan instructor. So I usually tell students it's fairly easy to make the distinction. If you think about dual credit courses being offered at the high school by the high school instructor, and then early college courses taken outside of the regular high school day by a John A. Logan instructor. So we do have some creative agreements with some high schools here and there where they're coming to campus and taking a class for high school credit with a John A. Logan teacher, but those are only certain schools, so we can always have a conversation about what that looks like for your student and their high school. But for the most part, this is how you distinguish the two different courses. Go ahead,
So
Jenny.
the best part about dual credit classes are they're free. We don't charge any tuition or fees for any students who are taking those dual credit classes that are taught at your individual high school with your high school instructors. Early college classes that are taught with John A. Logan instructors, we do charge fees, and we do waive tuition up to 8 credit hours per semester. So that 8 credit hours, most of our classes are about 3 credit hours with just a few exceptions. So normally a student can take 2.5 classes of college classes with no tuition charges. You do have to pay for your books and materials, and then you do have to pay your fees every semester.
So some benefits of dual credit in early college. So of course, the cost savings, that's the number one thing that students and parents are always concerned about. But there are also some other benefits to taking the courses as well. So it definitely creates an easier transition from high school to college. So if a student is taking these classes while in high school, they will already be familiar with the rigor of college courses. They'll know how to use their John A. Logan email. They'll be familiar with D2L, which is our online learning platform. So it just makes that transition a lot easier rather than just jumping into 5 college classes at once when they're a freshman in college. And then studies have shown that there's a greater likelihood of college attendance and completion. So students just overall will do better, again, because they're more prepared. The transition has been easier. They know what a college class is like. So we may get a student who is like, you know, they're in dual credit English at the high school, but they weren't really sure if they wanted to go to college. And then they ace the class and they're like, oh, well, I can do a college class. I know what this rigor is like and I can handle it. So that's one of the advantages as well. We also have a lot of students who will take advantage of career exploration through dual credit and early college opportunities. So they may take a class like Intro to Business, or they might take an education class or a welding class because they're interested in one of those majors. And then if they do that career exploration while they're in high school, then they don't go to college, spend a whole semester all on like business classes, and then realize they want to change their major. So then they've used a whole semester of time and money while they're in college. So if they figure that out in high school, they take those classes in high school and decide whether they like those subjects and want to continue as a career, then that's a huge advantage for students who might be on the fence about a different major or program. And that kind of goes along with the real life experience and enhanced skills. So, they'll learn those soft skills like time management and advocating for themselves. And then they'll also learn the hard skills, especially if they're taking a trades class. So if they come over and take an auto class or a welding class, there's a high chance that a shop around here, some company around here will hire them while they're still going to school because they already have some of those skills. So they've already taken a class or two in the trades, and then they're still building with more classes. So they have those skills under their belt, and they're not just entry level with no skills like someone else may. So it might give them a leg up there as well.
So if you're interested in getting your student involved in the program, the first thing they're going to need to do is apply. Whenever you go to our website, there's an apply now button right in the middle. They can click on that button and scroll all the way down and make sure they choose the dual credit / early college application. It's a few easy steps. It normally takes about 5 minutes or so. And then once that application has been submitted, once we get that process, they'll get their student ID number. That's what they need if they want to take the AccuPlacer test. The AccuPlacer is our placement test for testing into English, math, or the CNA certification class. You only have to take the AccuPlacer if you're taking one of those classes. So we normally tell our students, if you're going to a public high school, you need to apply first, and then you can talk to your school counselors about whether or not they can get on the list to be part of that AccuPlacer that happens at most of our high schools in the spring. And then if they're interested in taking English, math, or CNA, they're going to need that placement test. Otherwise, they can talk to their school counselor about taking some of those dual credit classes that are offered at their high school during their high school day with their high school instructors. Or you can schedule an appointment with me or Abby, and we would love to talk to them about getting registered for an early college class with one of our John A. Logan instructors. We are traveling out to all the public high schools in the spring, and then we'll do that for summer and fall registration, and then we'll travel out to the schools again, normally in October or November, to register them for spring classes.
Okay, so Jenny briefly mentioned the AccuPlacer. Again, if you're taking English, math, or CNA, you do need to take that placement test, or we can look at ACT or SAT scores to see if you or your student have qualified through those tests. There are 4 sections. So reading and writing is for the English portion, and then we have 2 math portions. So with the QAS, the qualitative reasoning portion, if they do well in that, it will automatically push them into the AAF or the algebra portion of the AccuPlacer. So those tests are untimed and free. So our students tend to do a little bit better on those than the ACT and SAT, since they are untimed and they can take their time and take however long they want. So we do encourage students to take that as well. Scores are good for 3 years at John A. Logan, and you can retest. So, don't let your student think that just because they didn't do well their first time, they can definitely retest. Worst case scenario is a retest is required. There are study resources on AccuPlacer, and there are links from our testing services website where you can access those. And there's also a link on our testing services webpage to schedule that test online if your student misses it at the school. So again, English, math, and CNA, you do have to take the AccuPlacer or have a qualifying SAT or ACT score, and we can talk about those scores in your advisement meeting.
So we do have some suggestions for some classes for students who are just getting started in the program. We do have an ORI 100. That's our College Fundamentals or College 101 class. That class is definitely helpful for students who are getting started in college in general and in any of our programs. It is required for all of our majors, and it is only offered on campus though. We do have sections that are available at some of our public high schools, and that class is often offered in some unique schedules in the summer or in the evenings after school in the fall or spring. We do recommend that our students complete their GECC, their General Education Core Curriculum. Those are basically the core general classes that you're going to need to transfer to most colleges and universities. Our future nursing students will need to complete at least their Anatomy and Physiology 1 class, which is the Bio 205, or a speech class, whether it's COM 116 or COM 115, we can have that conversation with them because some are a little bit more specific depending on what they're wanting to do and how far they're wanting to go in the nursing program. Those classes help them to get bonus points on their nursing exam, and we do also recommend our students take medical terminology, that ALH 217, before they take anatomy to get themselves a little bit more experience in that field before they get into it, because anatomy is a bit of an undertaking. For our CTE students, we do have evening HVAC, welding classes, as well as afternoon autos classes. Since those are more hands-on, they definitely experience those in more of an in-person format, but we do have some generals that they might be able to take as well if they're ready for an online class. Those are normally only offered in the fall and spring. We recommend that all students take an online fine arts credit. Those are pretty simple for students to get started. Really friendly entrance to the college experience, and speech, that COM 115 that I mentioned earlier, is normally recommended for most of our majors. That does require a few throughout the semester with a schedule that will help them to figure out what they need to find a slot that will work out for their schedule.
Okay, so we did just recently change this to from College 101 to College Fundamentals for the title. So I haven't changed it on this part of the PowerPoint yet, but this class is required for all John A. Logan majors. It just helps ease the transition from high school to college. So we go over choosing a major, time management, advocating for yourself. We help students learn how to work D2L, that online learning platform, their John A. Logan email. We go over financial aid and scholarships. So it's just a lot of subjects that students should be taking care of and looking into, but don't really have the time to. So we sit down with them in that class and do all of those assignments. There's no textbooks. There's no, it's only a $5 fee. There's no test. So it's not meant to be a hard course. It's just meant to get them prepared for college. It is only offered in person, like Jenny said, so either at their high school as early bird or in the evening or the summer. Those are the most popular times to take it. And then it transfers as an elective credit or in place of the freshman orientation at a different school in case you do transfer before graduating. So if you do graduate with your associate's degree at John A. Logan, then you don't have to worry about it. It's required to graduate with us, and then you won't have to take it at your next school. But great class. It's all staff and a few faculty members that teach it. So we highly recommend taking that as early as you can in your college journey. I didn't cut out at all, did I, Jenny?
Nope.
Okay, because you cut out just for a second, but it was, it was fine.
Okay. So transferring, we generally don't recommend that our students transfer their to complete their associate's degree while they're still in high school, especially if a student's going to major in a STEM field or go into a medical field or do something that's really science or math heavy. A lot of those students require higher level math and science classes that are normally only offered on campus during the day. So it's a really difficult thing to get done. Most of our Illinois colleges and universities accept our courses as core or elective credit, but generally whenever students are trying to get your whole associate's degree, either way, that's a really large undertaking on top of being a high school student, extracurriculars, and any AP classes that they're already taking. So can it be done? Sometimes. Is it always useful? That's really more of an individual conversation we'll need to have. We do generally recommend our students focus on IAI courses, those transferable general electives, just to make sure they're taking classes that are going to be useful for most degrees that they're mostly going to be using in their future. We're happy to help through the process and have some specific conversations with you, but we do also recommend that if your student has a particular transfer school and a particular program in mind, you should definitely have that conversation with that transfer school specifically about how each of their John A. Logan credits will be transferring, so that way they make sure that they are doing the best planning for their future as well.
And just to reiterate what Jenny said, just so you hear it a second time, because I feel like it's our most common question. And we just had students that were talking to us this morning about it at a high school. Again, I know lots of students want to finish their associate's degree in high school. Like she said, not always recommended. So we have that conversation with the students. We tell them, hey, if you really want to get your associate's degree, but you're going into STEM or in the medical field, you're going to take a lot of classes that you don't really need. So you're going to take weather, you're going to take literature, you're going to take a lot of classes that are online just to finish your degree, when really you need a lot of classes that are in person that you can't take in high school. So like I said, we can have that conversation with you, show you exactly what it looks like. But we always try to tell students, do you really want to stress yourself out in high school if it's classes you don't actually need? So like Jenny said, just to reiterate that point, since it's so common. We did already go to a few schools this semester. Like she said, we go each semester to register students. So feel free to make sure your student is coming to see us those days, checking their announcements to know when that is, but you can also make it an appointment on campus with one of us. As far as the Promise Scholarship goes, if any of you are listening in for that information, 9 credit hours of dual credit or early college is required. So they start those classes their junior or their senior year. Our high schools have tons of options for dual credit. So there are a lot of options for them at their high school. For the schools that don't, those kids do take a lot of early college, those online classes. So our counselors are great about helping students through that process. They're going to be great with this Promise Scholarship and making sure students have those credits, but keep that in the back of your mind as your student becomes a junior. And they can absolutely take more than 9 hours if they want. So 9 credit hours is just required because we want to make sure they're prepared for college, they're ready for college, they know what a college class is like, and just making that transition easier, as I mentioned a little bit earlier in the presentation. Okay, so this is our contact information as well as our website. If you just want to search dual credit on our website, then our webpage will pop right up. There's a lot of useful information, some links, our handbook. There's all kinds of things on our website, as well as our contact information is on our website too. So there's a link to schedule an appointment with us if you would like to click through there and just do it online, but you can always email us as well. So our office email is right here on the screen, super easy to remember, and we check that throughout the week all the time. So if you have any questions, feel free to send us an email, give us a call. We'd be happy to answer anything for you or set up an appointment to sit down to meet with you. So Jenny, do you have anything else that we missed?
I don't think so. I think we got it all.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you. If you have any questions, just let us know.